Good afternoon, everyone. We've got a special episode of the Libra Lounge for you. We are live here in Dickinson at Femme Fitale Studio, located at 689 FM 517 West, Suite 300. We want to thank owner Jenny Flynn for letting us hold this special event today. We're having a community forum. We've got a special panel up here. We're going to start with Roger De La Cruz, who is a parent of a student in Dickinson ISD. To keep in mind, we're in Dickinson, which is 8 miles away from Santa Fe. Next, we have Kenzie Conway, who has 2 students in Dickinson ISD, and she's also a hometown girl. Next, we have Eric Flynn. He's a father of 2 sons who are also in DISD, and he's also the husband of the owner of Femme Fitale. And we have Bud Collier, who is the director of I Am Bully Free. We're kind of going to be your experts for today. Well, you guys are going to be the experts for today. So we're here because, of course, you know, it's been about a little bit over a week that we had a tragedy very, very close to home. A 17-year-old student walked into Santa Fe High School and opened fire, killing 8 of his classmates and 2 students. Kenzie, you're going to help me out with Demetrios' last name, right? Okay, so there's all kinds of issues going on right now. The news media has been going crazy. Parents are scared. You've got this 17-year-old who's claiming that he's been bullied. That's why we've got Bud here. We've got parents, you know, everyone's trying to figure out why this happened, what we can do to stop this from happening again, and who do we hold accountable for the deaths of all these kids. Right now, you know, bullying, you know, in this situation, I don't know what you think, Bud, it's almost like it's a red herring a little bit, because now they're saying that, you know, he did this because his coaches bullied him at school. Then we have concerned parents, Eric, that are saying, well, how do we stop this? You know, what can we do to protect our kids here in Dickinson? Right. Not that we're not concerned about all the kids, but our kids are here in DISD. What is the school district going to do so when the kids go back to school in the fall? I don't know about you guys, but for the parents to at least have a little bit of peace of mind when we're sending our kids back.
Exactly.
Because it's been crazy.
Schools to do anything. This is going away because school's over. Mm-hmm. And will they follow some of the suggestions from our governor? That's just a plan, right? We've all had plans to go to the gym. You buy that membership, and then what happens in January?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just an example.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right.
And so it's up to the parents and the grandparents and everybody out there to ensure that Dickinson ISD, Santa Fe, follows through with this.
Yeah.
By going to these meetings, getting involved with the school board and holding them accountable. Because you see, just like in Parkland, when you go and look, is there a news trend from Parkland? There's nothing. You don't hear anything. And did they accomplish anything? Of course they did. They marched on the Capitol and all these different issues, but I haven't seen any changes on the news media that I can see.
Well, because the news isn't talking about it. There's a lot of changes going on there specifically, but the news just...
Because
it's
they
old
want
news now. I hate to say that it's old news.
They want to come to Santa Fe.
All the negative things, not the positive
they
things.
They want to hop on the hot topic, and right now it's Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but you were on my show about a month ago.
Yes, and we were talking about this.
We were talking about
this. We're not ready
happening.
for it.
Right.
We were talking about Parkland. Says, has Texas done anything to be proactive? Now we're in the reactive mode. We have like 50 anti-bully groups that monitor what we're doing. We weren't ready because now, could we have stopped this kid from coming in that school? Yes, had we had these things that the governor's saying. But why didn't we have that? Because it didn't happen here. Did you see the video of that little girl after the tragedy saying, I expected this? You know,
yeah.
It was so.
A lot of the students did.
He was walking around. Yeah.
And the problem is that the students up until recently around here haven't been speaking up. They just, that's the way that he is. Yeah, we figured he could have done it.
Right.
But you never really know who's really going to for lack of better terms, pull the trigger on something, on their actions or their thoughts.
But he gave a lot of signs, though, at school. So it's like, why didn't any of the educators, we're
something.
taught to look, and we know the signs. You're wearing a trench coat in Texas in April and May.
We're going to bring
That's
Kelly
a sign.
a little bit later. She's got an organization.
Okay.
And she's going to talk about these assessments where a trained counselor in 10 minutes can determine, does that guy need to be targeted, or monitored, or whatever.
Yeah.
See,
right.
And I'm Bully Free's been saying this for a long time. But now as you look at the kid from Parkland, what was his last name? Cruz?
Yeah.
When you walk around, let's go, oh shit, we expected him to do that.
Right.
He was on, but nobody's really talking about Demetrius like this, but if we keep digging, there was signs. Yeah.
Right, and I think people don't want to say, oh, well, my kid got singled out because he looks weird or he acts weird. You know what I mean? Everyone's so sensitive,
But you start the discussion when you say that, you point something out. What happens is you have a diffusion of responsibility, right?
Right.
The mob mentality, the reflex is somebody gets attacked, and there's a dozen people standing around, and nobody does anything because everybody assumes somebody else is going to do something.
Oh, all the time.
So
all the time.
Same situation here. If you were to point someone out, that whether they were at risk or not, but at least they had that conversation, and the kid, male or female, can have a chance to say, no, it's okay. I'm just a weirdo. I just like to wear this. Or, well, now that you mention it, there is this going on. If you do it, you're eventually going to find someone that could be at risk, or maybe you stop something, but now there's other people that are saying, I'm not just going to go under the radar. So maybe they will volunteer. Maybe something else will change where they'll say, people are actually caring and saying something. Nobody ever thought it was going to happen.
And they'll be able to speak up before they feel like they need to take any action.
Hopefully, ideally, I mean,
well, you said something because I was a social worker in Dickinson for years. And I would have all the time students that would come in and say, hey, Miss Holman, that was my last name then, so-and-so is in my classroom, and whereas this kid used to always answer questions, they've been really quiet. Or so-and-so has been wearing the same shirt 3 days in a row. Or so-and-so isn't participating in PE. So those are identifiers. Like, it could be anything that's going on. So we would call that kid into the office, just do a regular check, what's going on, how's school going, introduce myself. And sometimes it was nothing. Sometimes it could be, a brooding teenager, you know what I'm saying? And then there's other times, my parents are going through a divorce. Or there's times that, I've had teachers to say, this kid's going to the restroom all of a sudden every day in class. What's going on? Call the student in because they're cutting. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's okay to say something. It's better to say something, figure out if there's an issue, rather than to just continue to ignore it. Like what you said, you know what I mean? Like, so everyone's so sensitive, is so afraid of being accused of doing something. And that's the part of the problem.
Did you see the video from Alvin ISD at that school? I normally don't post fights. So you got two teenagers fighting, and the teacher's just standing there doing this.
Yeah.
Not touching him, not saying stop, because, why? He's afraid of losing his job or a loss. I don't know.
No. Because there's a rule now that teachers, it is not their responsibility to break up a fight. I didn't break up fights when they were right in front of me. I mean, you've got these two kids, some of them were my size, going at it, and I try to get right there, get hit in the face, this and that. You know what I mean? I want to make it home at the end of the day as well. You know what I mean? But then you are right. If a teacher's breaking up a fight and elbows a kid, there's the lawsuit.
Since we've had our radio show, I've had probably 50 calls just on that instance. There's a little girl out in California, and we were talking about what an upstander is. You're supposed to face your bully.
Yeah.
Well, they end up getting a fight. So here comes a security guard. He's not a cop. He's a security guard. Sees these two teenagers fighting, jumps in and tackles them like they're football players, right? And because my little client accidentally hit him because of the fight, now she could get she could have a minimum of a misdemeanor, right? Except because it shows on the film. So this fight ensues, and he was there within the second punch. So he was watching that. And my question to him is, would you break up a fight between you and two big guys like that?
Right.
It's a security guy, right?
Right.
Would you jump in there with two guys 6'4" that are football players?
Yeah.
But you'll go tackle these two little girls, and now their lives are really affected. And from her mother's stance, this young lady has not had any issues in the school with attendance, deferments, anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the other girl has been bothering her, bullying her the whole year, and now she stood up to her.
And then there's a fight.
So when is it bullying? Used to, as we talk to parents, in 2012, it's whatever we threw up on the wall. But CDC, it's an ongoing issue. See, if I get up and jump a kid, that's not bullying. That's assault, right? That's a fight. But parents will do that to me. Hey, I'll get a call. This guy called my kid the N-word, right? That from the third ward. I go, okay, one time driving by. That's not bullying. That's a racist, discriminatory mark. But it's when it's ongoing and it starts affecting your kids to where they're not eating, they're cutting themselves.
Right.
They're
People don't
talking
know
about
what bullying
suicide.
means.
But the kids do.
Yeah, because they hear it so often.
They've got that definition down.
Well, you said something when you said, you'll get a parent saying, oh, my kid was bullied because so-and-so called them the N-word. That to me goes back to parenting, because since my daughter she's a junior now as of yesterday, when she was in 5th grade, and I told her, I was like, you know what, get ready. Some girl is going to get mad at you. First thing she's going to call you is a bitch. I said, you're black. You're going to get called a nigger. It happens. That's life. I said, now, are you going to be offended every time someone says that to you and get all upset and all these things? No. I've been called a bitch. I don't even can't count how many times. Have I been called a nigger? Yes. But it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? I mean, those are identifiers, you know what I mean, to some people, but that's not bullying. Now, some kids calling you a bitch every single day, that's an issue, but the one time, and just that one time, that parent labels bullying, and that's not what bullying is.
And see, what we do at I'm Bully Free, I talk to the parent and we start investigating it, and it's not a series of, like, Kelly's helping me. We've got 30 other parents that are helping me. It's just not me sitting in my little cubicle at home, and then I start questioning, here, this is it, this is your rights, and is this really bullying? And a lot of times I find out that their kid is the problem.
Yeah. Right.
And then I don't hear from them again. So we had a case up in Amarillo where, you remember, it was right after Parkland. These kids, he got a note from this kid saying he's going to kill him. Right? That's a terrorist threat. Everybody's online. Right. Then as you open it up and pull it back, him and his buddy did that thinking it was funny. And they're walking outside the classroom laughing at it. But his parent goes to the school to pick him up, worried that kid that put the note out was going to kill him. Right? And I won't even tell you what happened, but then I never hear from that parent again because their son was the issue.
Right.
Now, but we have problem. He said that's what we need to talk to these kids.
Right.
Does that make sense? We need to. Okay,
that involves parenting, and a lot of parents don't want to parent anymore. You know what I mean?
Here's an iPad.
Go have fun.
I've got 2 jobs.
And I get it.
A lot of social issues out there.
That's exactly what it is. Kinsey, I know you've got a lot of research that you've done and a lot of insight into the DISD. Maybe you can tell us, since we're trying to figure out a way, we're a group of like minds that we've come together because we want to protect our kids the best way that we can for this upcoming school year and beyond. So it's, what do we do? How do we do it? How do we get the school district to pay attention? Do we go to the school board meetings? Just how do we go in there prepared? Because if we're going to go in there saying, why aren't you doing this? They're going to attack us back.
Right, and I do think, Keisha, it's a matter of approach that you take. This is an uncharted journey for all of us, so we're kind of figuring it out together as we go along, and we need community support. I've been in touch with Andrew Polak. He is with the AmericansForClass.org. He's a Parkland father who lost Meadow. She was shot 8 times. And I never want to have to sit in front of a father, and I don't, that has lost his daughter, much less any parent, especially in our district. So where do you get started? Because I think, okay, I'm going to create a Facebook page, and then I join all these groups, and that's almost like a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, how do we stop talking, right? I appreciate us being here. Roundtables are great to share ideas. We all have ideas about parenting and gun laws and this and that. It's not about politics. It's not about race, religion, ethnic backgrounds. The bottom line is it's about protecting our kids in school, and we're failing, and it's been going on for 20 years. So how? Short answer, I don't know, but I got to start. And Andrew Pollack recommended that we start right here, right now, today in Dickinson with your respective schools that your children are in. If you're in Santa Fe, wherever, do you have a watchdog program? I didn't even know what that was, really, until friends enlightened me on it, but it's people who will volunteer. And you know how right now we're all heated, and Santa Fe just happened, and the momentum is there, but then it goes away. Now we got all summer to wait, and yeah, we feel, there's a motorcycle rally outside today, but is this what's going to happen come August, right? So here's a couple things. What we can do today is contact our school, contact your principal, right? Talk to your PTA people. If you don't know who they are, just go online, figure it out, ask questions. And what I've found from DISD so far is that people are really receptive. Even Julie Masters, our mayor, she wants to see more protection in schools, and then it comes down to a funding issue. So those are bigger things we can tackle later, but what we can tackle today is getting people to man those entrances and perhaps limiting them, the number of them. Something that happened in Santa Fe that I just learned is last year they had a policy, I could be wrong, but they had a policy to lock all doors. And they did away with that policy this year because it was too difficult to turn the key and lock it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? He entered the back by the art room, and that door was unlocked, and it should have been locked. So security issues are inconvenient. You bet they are. I hate going to an airport now, but we kind of got the drill down, and it's not as bad as right after post 9/11.
Yeah.
Where I want to start is stop talking. Let's talk to our school board. There's a June 4th meeting, I believe, at 6:30. It's going to be a budget meeting. I notice on the budget, and perhaps I need to talk to someone and really try to figure out these numbers, but when it comes to security, out of 60% goes to instruction. That's great. But here's the
what
deal.
is their budget? Did they say
I
that?
believe it's the general fund. Now, this is the cash reserve levy, so I need to talk to someone about the numbers. So I'm going to learn, not to complain, right? But just to really learn and try to get their perspective on things. I think we have to approach it, because when I talked to Robert Cobb, I brought up some concerns.
Who's the assistant superintendent, right?
Assistant superintendent. And I brought up some concerns, and he was very receptive, and he says, Kinsey, we're working on it. Even since Parkland, we did an internal review, and we changed some things, and now we're probably going to change some other things. And I said, please, let us know. I go on your website, and it's terrorism. I think of like the Taliban, right?
Yeah.
I don't associate that with bullying. I had to go like 5 places in to find out what our policy is on bullying. Okay, what about shootings? I want to see something addressed towards that. And so, he was very receptive, but it was interesting to hear his perspective, because we all have our ideas, but we need to listen and communicate, and then we can come together. But what I really am here for is, if you don't have a volunteer program at your school, that's what we need to work on. That's immediate. And then with Julie Masters, I discussed possibly having, trained, good background, public-private citizens who have experience, highly trained people, man our doors. And that's a funding issue. And so it can go on many levels, but the bottom line is we got to prioritize, and our first step is manning those doors. Right now, at my kids' school, when I would let my 2 babies off, guess what? Guess who's out there to greet them? Guess who's manning those front doors? Elementary kids. And Smiles and Vest.
Yeah.
And a couple of admins and sweet teachers. They don't need to be our first line of defense, or defense, whatever. It's just not appropriate. So,
Kinsey, can I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to touch on something that you just said. Yeah. That when you dropped your kids off, you had teachers out there and the kids out there, which is great, because they want the school to be welcoming. Hey, Hannah, it's the welcoming vibe. Right. But here's the thing: like you have a son in high school, and I have a daughter in high school, and you said volunteer program. For some odd reason, when the kids get to high school, I don't know if parents are like, oh, they're almost grown, they're almost out of the house. I'm the vice president of the PTO. This year we had 6 parents, and we thought we were winning, because last year we only had 2.
Right, and that's
parents don't want to do it.
And that's consistent with the school the elementary school that my kids, like 30 sign up, and then 5 people come.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. is this a bake sale? Is it a let's raise money for yearbooks, or is this our kid's life?
Yeah.
Basically, blood is pouring in our schools.
Yeah.
And we talk about like 300 shootings or a little less than that since 2009, but those are people who are victims. What about, their schoolmates who have their innocence stolen for the rest of their life?
Exactly.
This is a bigger issue. It's not the number of shooting, it's the people that it affects.
The people that are affected.
Right?
Those kids are never going to forget that.
Right.
No.
Ever.
So here's something else that I noticed with Dickinson, with my location here. I'm right next to Lobit. I have a friend tell me to turn on the news. I'm watching everything that's going on in Santa Fe, and the first time we were watching TV with one of these situations, and you're seeing familiar landmarks, right? So then you know, okay, this is hitting close to home.
Right.
See a life flight helicopter take off. I go outside. That life flight helicopter flies over my house.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's real. So I'm back inside and I'm there watching it, and my 3-year-old, who I'd like to say is pretty sharp, we like to say our kids are the smartest kids, but she says, "Is Sissy okay?" Think about that for a second. A 3-year-old now is asking if her sister's okay. So I got to say, yeah, it's okay, everything's fine, it's no big deal. They're doing some drills. I'm not going to let a 3-year-old know what's going on, because then you start that seed and that grows into something else. Luckily, my 8-year-old who was in school, they've had lockdown a couple times over there, and it was just something simple where...
So how close was your daughter's school to the high school?
So right here off Lobit, which is really, it took me 5 minutes to get here, so I'm just a mile further. Like if you take 517 heading towards Alvin, it's right there. Lobit's right there on the right. So you can see right when the helicopter took off and lifted up straight, you could see just right over the tree line it looked. I mean, it's not far.
So from Santa Fe High School to... Is it Dickinson High School, or to Dickinson is 8 miles?
To Dickinson city limits is
It's 8 miles.
Dickinson city limits.
Okay.
Because you basically go Cemetery Road will take you from 517 Dickinson to to Highway 6 Santa Fe. So you're just it's really close. And when you think about the volunteer work and you think about everything else, and you ask yourself, is it worth it? One of the questions we're going to ask the schools are: here's the budget, here's all the situation, here's everything you have laid out. What do you think is a worthwhile investment to this volunteer work? Any adjustments, any additional hardware that you need to add to it? What's the next question? Funding. Okay, well, is it worth it? Where do we go? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm off Thursday, Friday. I'm totally down to hang out and volunteer several hours a day, whatever my daughter's in. Right. Cool. Let's get some other people around.
So what does a metal detector cost?
Metal detectors, what we've seen based on average, and there was another post, and we'll have to link it to the website so we can put the information out, was looking around $2,000 for a basic unit that could be adjusted to be a sensitive to find, regular basic coin in your pocket to lower the sensitivity down to where you would notice something different.
Like a
that
knife
would mimic
or
a weapon.
gun.
So
Right.
$2,000 for one metal detector?
That's what it's looking like.
I thought they were going to be like $20,000,
That too, see, I'm
and
not
a whole lot more.
2 to 10, depending. I think there's installation charges and all of that, and then you can calibrate the machines so they don't just pick up paper clips or something.
Right.
But it's affordable for us if we can pay millions for the football stadium.
The day after the
We
shooting,
can get the metal detectors.
Very true.
There's money there.
the day after the shooting, there was a veteran-owned safety or security company that was willing to do a huge discount on labor and train all the staff to make sure to know how to run these things. So it's right after, as soon as it happened, there's people reaching out for it. My question is, why wasn't that immediately thought of to be, great, yes, we'd love to have you? Because there's so many people. I don't care, like Kenzie mentioned, we do all these fundraising things. How great would it be if you could reach out to the community, all these businesses, that say, we'd like you to put a $100, $400 ad in our yearbook. How about this? Let's skip the yearbooks this year. We all know pictures. Everybody's got Facebook. You're seeing pictures, everything like that. How would you like to be as a student body, as the senior, exiting senior for 2018, 2019? How would you guys like to be the class of change? Right. You guys start the fundraising. You make your school safe. You leave it behind. You pay it forward for the next group. And that's their goal. Spend the year doing fundraising. All these companies that are growing up that are supported by the communities, hey, we're going to give back. If you're a big company, you got some tax money that you need to unload. You probably got your finance guys saying we're a little bit high. Maybe we need to offload some of this cash, get the lower tax bracket. It'd be really cool if you could donate that to some of the local schools.
Right.
And now you've offset some of the cost of this.
Right.
Roger, it irritates me so bad because you're spot on with what you just said. But it always has bothered me that you know, if someone says, come buy a barbecue plate for the football team, and I'm not downing the football team. We need stuff like that. You know, it's important for the kids. It's important for the schools. It's important for the communities. But God, if you say something like, hey, come buy a barbecue plate for a book, you know, it's like pulling teeth. No one shows up.
Right.
So come by for an anti-bully rally.
Exactly. So
nobody shows up.
No one shows up. You know,
unless JJ's there.
I think you have. Right. I think you have years and years of everything being okay, complacency built in. Let's take Harvey for example. Right. How many times were you watching other people on the Weather Channel, any of the stations for other hurricanes, and you're seeing, God, those people are waiting around in waist deep water. August 27th. I'm waiting around in waist deep water, seeing the helicopter. I'm that guy on the Weather Channel right now that I've been watching.
We never think it's going to be us.
And were you prepared?
No, I wasn't. No, because I thought, and this is
not going to happen.
Thought process. Here's a complacency kicking in. There's going to be a hurricane. It's all right. I live in a nice neighborhood.
Right.
Everything's
It won't
cool.
happen.
The error of thinking that everybody does, it's completely innocent and benign. But now here it is, the school shooting. And the first thing I think is, I never thought this would happen in our backyard. I thought we, as Texans, and I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers when I say that, I thought we had our shit together. I thought everything was okay, and this isn't going to happen.
Lucky it didn't happen till now.
Right. So that's when you think. Now it's like we're gonna turn this adage into riding a motorcycle. It's not if you wreck, it's when you wreck.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I hate to be doomsday, and that sounds bad. But if you take this mentality now and you start with it, get this ball rolling. And if we never have it again, we can either say one of two things. Society's fixed, or we did enough to make sure our schools are safe, and then we're okay.
So
it's the preparation that we need.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What did this really cost the community that day, money-wise, and spiritually, mentally, and the whole group? You can't put a dollar on it.
No, you
Versus had they done something, I'm talking about me and everybody on this table, done something proactive.
Right.
We would. It's like what happened in Indiana. Remember the big coach kicked the little guy's butt and took the gun from him?
Right.
You'll see that one just yesterday. Kid walks in the classroom and just happily was a big coach that was there. He got shot 3 times and took the gun away from the kid. Had he not, guess what? We'd have had
another school
10 to 20 kids. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think an important thing is, to, add on to what Roger said is the preparation, because I have an only child, so since birth, I've always been like, I don't want to say overprotective, but maybe just a little bit. So she just started going to the mall with her friends. And I was taking her as some friends, and I had a friend with me, and we were going over drills. And my friend is like, what are you doing? I'm like, Skylar, what do you do if a fire breaks out at the mall? You know what I mean? She knows all the steps. I said, Skylar, what do you do if someone tries to snatch you? She knows, kick and scream, yell fire. I said, well, what do you do if there's a shooter? And I'll never forget, it was maybe 6 years ago, every year, CCISD and DISD, we all go to a counseling conference for the counselors and the social workers. And we had someone who came and spoke to us about why we don't teach our kids to run during shootings. Why do we always teach them to hide? So, along with me telling Skylar all these other things, I'm like, what do you do if there's an active shooter at the mall? She's like, well, if the person is close to me, I play dead. And she goes, but if the person is far away, I run. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, if there's an opportunity for you to run, get out of there. You know what I mean? Don't just sit there hoping the person doesn't come in there. So it's about preparation. But, we never think it's going to be us.
Were our kids prepared at this school district?
Those kids ran at Santa Fe.
There's a fire alarm pulled.
It was funny because I have a friend who, she's a friend and we do a lot of business together. And we were actually getting ready for my daughter's Sweet 16 party. And she was baking the cake. And I saw, there was a shooting at Santa Fe, and she has 3 kids that go to that high school. So I text her and I'm like, do you have your babies? She's like, I got all 3 of them. She's like, she's got twin boys. She said one of her twin boys, 8 of his friends, they all just gathered inside of his truck. She's like, I don't know how they fit in that truck, but they just hid in that truck. She said the other 2 ran across the street, So I'm glad that these kids ran, because there probably would have been more victims.
And I wonder who is training our kids for shootings. Do they have a background in a shooting situation? I mean, like, for example, I understand with Santa Fe, the fire alarm helped. But in Parkland, they pulled the fire alarm, and Andy's daughter ran out, and that's when she got killed. So I think it's a case by case. I mean, there's no...
Sadly, I think the training is seeing other video from other news of other shootings.
Yeah,
And-
that's sad.
Because unfortunately, there's enough historical data that these kids are leaning on.
And so what I think we got to go back to is what can we do today to implement today? What can we get started on? And I really would like to have volunteers at the schools as a deterrent, because the perpetrators are absolute cowards, and if we can just deter them, that would be great. If we can start there, and then talk to our school principal, superintendent, and find out what they're doing and how we can help as parents and step it up a little bit.
And I think the biggest thing that we need to do is to make sure something gets done.
Something,
like, I don't care what it is. Are we pushing for metal detectors? Are we pushing for more people? We need something done.
So, and here's the deal. To push and get one thing done and stop, no. Because I think it needs to be ongoing, and it needs to be something that is constantly gone over. If you're having fire drills, that's tricky if you have shooter drills, because think about it. Who else is in the drill with them beforehand?
Right.
The shooter.
It gives them an opportunity to plan.
Right. Now it's technically an inside job when you see what's going on.
Can I jump in on this?
Yeah, sure. Introduce yourself.
My name's Kelly Hammonds. I'm the co-founder of Texas Advocates for Safe Schools. Just a little history about myself. I actually did risk and safety management for Shriners Hospitals for Children in Galveston. I did active shooter drills. I did basic fire drills. I did safety drills. I did those, comparisons. I had data. I had everything that I needed to make that happen. Also, I was a school teacher.
Did they do active shooter drills at your last school?
At my last school, we did do an active shooter drill because we were about to be audited. So we did it the day before the audit.
Just so you can say that it was done.
To say that it was done. So we were locked in a closet for about 20 minutes. The kids were like on their phones, no big deal. The way we did it at the hospital, we actually had Galveston Police Department come in. I had them run through an entire scenario. They actually went around with blanks and shot at people, and those people laid down like they were dead. And it was a whole, they actually called 911. 911 was prepared for that. Galveston PD was prepared for that. That is how these drills need to be run. And I'm not saying that anybody here is wrong or right. What I'm saying is these are all minor puzzle pieces to the big picture. Okay, so that's what we're trying to figure out, because of course right now if we go to the mayor and the school board, they're going to say, yeah, we've got plans, because they're diffusing the situation. That's what they have to do at this moment, is diffuse the situation. They want everybody to be happy with what they're saying, and that's not necessarily the case. When we talk about funding, where is the lotto money going? Does anybody know that? Because I have yet to find out where that money is being funded for Texas schools. There is a lot of money involved in school systems. I can tell you I was threatened as a teacher to be shot by a student. I filed charges with Galveston County on that student. He was at school the next day. Nothing was done. The charges never got put in. Do I think that child should have gone to jail? Maybe, but he definitely needed a psychological assessment. And so on our board, we're in our infancy in our group. Kenzie's actually part of it. Bud's on the board. People look at it and they go, oh, bullying, I was bullied, when I was a kid, and I'm fine. I was born with one hand. Heck yeah, I was bullied. I became a bully. Same scenario as Bud's daughter, know. Was it okay? No. But I had to learn to overcome. I ended up putting I pushed a school teacher because I was in a fight, and I thought it was the girl that I was fighting with, and I pushed a teacher. So instead of getting expelled, my principal was smart enough to have me write a paper for the newspaper, or an article for the newspaper, explaining why I had one hand and who I was and what defines me as a person. And I did that, and I put a picture of me painting my fingernails with my toes. And after that, I had no problems. Not a single problem. Ignorance breeds hate. Yes. It truthfully does. And a lot of it comes back to the parenting and the evaluation. Do you see teenage girls shooting up schools?
No.
No. And this dawned on me the other day, not to get too personal, but I went for my annual woman's exam, and they did a depression screening. So the average girl is going at like 15, 16 years old for these exams, and they're getting depression screenings. So then you have got boys who go for their physicals for sports. I don't know if they do depression screens or not in that.
Do they do that for boys?
Not that I've heard.
Well, they don't want to find that out.
Right.
Yeah, they should. They absolutely should. But right. But even at that, those kids aren't typically the shooters either. You know. So what about these outliers? So we have a psychotherapist on our board. I have a bachelor's in psychology. That's where we're kind of going with our efforts. We want to build a training plan for teachers that they have to go to when we're sitting there. I'm not kidding. I sat for 2 days unpaid with this woman telling me, this white lady, and I taught in Lamarck, telling me, you need to go to these children and say, I asked you to sit down.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, so what we want is a program where we can teach teachers within 10 minutes to speak to a student and identify if they're depressed, have anxiety, what's going on. My first teaching job, I actually got in trouble because I kept the kids after school that were troubled children, and I allowed them to eat snacks in my classroom, and it was too loud. The principal told me that I needed to go to a school that was more like the one I went to growing up. And I said, what do you mean? He said, a prominently white school. I grew up in Greenspoint.
Yeah.
Okay? So I was not in a prominently white school.
All right.
Okay? So I didn't get my contract renewed because I chose not to eat lunch with the teachers who talked trash about the kids who were a problem. I had those children eat lunch with me. Those children were good for me. So I got bullied by other teachers. As a peer review, I was not renewed. I went to another school. That's where I was threatened to be shot. I got in trouble for that and lost my job and ultimately got blacklisted as a teacher. I brought special ed children from a 36% pass rate in content exams to a 77% pass rate in content exams. Was that looked at? Nope. So that is the problem.
Yeah.
You know, I've had an outpour of teachers contacting me saying, Kelly, I'm dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
I care about these kids so much, but because I don't fit in the norm, because I'm not worried about STAR, I'm not getting renewed. You know, I had 11% of the kids in Lamarck that were homeless. 11% of those students were homeless. I kept toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant, pads for the girls, anything they needed. They knew that, and they came and they got it. How hard was it for these coaches in Santa Fe to buy that kid some damn deodorant? I'm sorry, but it outrages me. Makes me so angry because these are the teachers that are not, they're kept. I don't care if the football team makes whatever, you know, first place in state. I don't care. What I care is that my 8-year-old goes to Santa Fe and she's terrified to go back to school on Tuesday. My little cousins were in Santa Fe High School. They are scarred for the rest of their lives. That's what I care about. You know, so where do we begin? That's where we're all stuck.
Yeah. I
So,
agree.
you
And
know,
that's why we're trying to come together as a group to
Exactly.
come to a decision-making process with parents and approaching the school boards, not necessarily just Dickinson, but all of them,
Right.
and try to get something done. Like that's the whole point that we're trying to rally all the parents around.
So who is in charge here with this? Is it the school board, the superintendent? Is it you guys?
Right now, it's going to be us. Right now, it's going to be us. It's going to be the parents that need to pay the taxes. It's going to be the parents that need to make the decision to whether they want to protect their own children or not. And it's going to be ultimately our decision whether or not they go back to a school that we feel is safe. And if it takes us having to keep our kids out or move them to another district, if that's what it takes, if the other district takes action and does something, that's where my children are going.
Right.
And I understand it's a school board, they control the budget, right?
Right.
The money. And so if we're talking about trying to hire people, we've got to go through them. But until we get that, that's further down the road. We need immediate action. And I really, you know, you mentioned something really interesting about if they would listen to the teachers know their students best. And so many teachers are afraid to speak up because of retribution, which manifested with you. So I hope that there is an ear, and I hope they're willing to listen to our concerns. I've asked that we can have a moment to speak, but I understand on the June 4th meeting it's a budget meeting, so but I would like for them to hear our concerns, and I want to see action. We've got to see something, not just with internally, but we parents need to see this, right?
As parents, you guys should be asking for transparency.
Right.
Not, oh, I can't discuss that because I can't discuss this because you'll see that I've been doing.
Yeah.
We can ask to be put on
agenda.
the agenda. Yeah.
How many minutes do you get, Bud, to speak?
3.
3.
3
3
minutes?
minutes for a safety issue.
Yeah, that's just not gonna.
And if there's more than 3 people with the same
Right.
situation
that they want to speak of, you need to elect one speaker on that
School
subject.
board members, you don't tell me anything. I don't even.
They don't have to respond to you at all.
And if you don't sit down in 3 minutes.
They can call the cops on you and have you
No,
escorted
escorted
out
out.
or arrested now.
Over at Katie's, it didn't happen because that lady wouldn't sit down. When did we give an old white guy a gavel that could put you in jail?
You know, and I think when we approach it, you know, we're here to help at the end of the day. We're here to save our kids. It's really simple. That's our common chord for us all. So if we can just go to that place of love and light and work from there rather than criticism or you haven't done enough, it's how we approach this, because my goal is to work with the district. I know that they want to do this. I mean, they're all for it, right? So,
Just like you said, 20 years we've been saying the same thing.
Right.
Now it's here. So will we?
And we're going to do something.
Right.
We will do something.
Ultimately, we need an effective plan that's cost effective, that's going to be actually implemented, and that can be statewide. And my goal with Texas Advocates for Safe School is to do something that is implemented and proven to actually work, that we have data to show that it's working, and doing something for the kids and for the safety of the schools so that other states can pick up on it. It's very similar. We're working with Andrew Pollock. You know, we're working with other organizations. You know, but ultimately, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I know on Facebook I've had people say, oh, you're just a vigilante, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. I'm a concerned parent.
Right.
I want the best, just like everybody else. But you mentioned the bully policy in Dickinson, and I kind of smirked. Bud and I did an audit on Dickinson's bully policy 2 years ago, I believe it was, and it was not.
They
right.
failed.
And it failed miserably.
I was an auditor at NASA on processes, right? That's what I'm a certified auditor, just like in your plants.
Hold on. Let's
Here, Bud.
and when Bud does this? Oh, never mind. This mic doesn't come off. I was trying to get it to come off. When I want Hannah O'Kelly, are you ready to speak too? When Bud tells us about this audit, I want you to come up because Hannah you're going into your senior year. Speaking of bullying, I was very hard pressed because.
You want this?
Yeah, you want to come up real quick? Hannah did something pretty courageous for the students at Dickinson High School. And one of the local, I don't know what you call it. What is I-45 now? What are they?
It's like an internet news.
An internet news thing.
TJ Ald's, he's been in the area for a long time.
A very long time.
Very long time.
He posted a half-assed story about what the kids at Dickinson did. And this poor child got attacked so bad. It was actually a parent had posted what was shared what was posted on I-45 Now, criticizing her efforts, the students' efforts. And you know me, I got on there. I was like, "This is wrong. This is not accurate. You know, why are you guys attacking this child?" Who, these are kids, they don't know what to do, so they did what they could do. So on I-45 Now, I was looking at the thread, and I was amazed at what these people were saying. And a lot of the stuff was just stupid. I always say, people just will say anything just to say something.
Right.
And then after like so many comments, I-45 Now got on and said, well, we didn't finish the story. Well, you know what? How about you finish the story
Then
before
post
you
it.
post it? And you get all the information first, because did they contact you?
Nope.
Okay, so they didn't contact the person, one of the people who organizes. So, Hannah, tell us about what you guys did, why you did it, you know, the reaction, because we're all very proud of you. The reactions that you got, starting, I want to say, a couple of hours after you guys walked
right
out.
after.
Yeah, so tell us what happened.
So I'm in a theater group chat because I'm a senior at Dickinson High School and I'm in the theater program. And it was pretty much just us in the theater group. There's about 15 of us, and we came up with the idea to have a walkout, and we kind of just developed that into being a walkout and lie down. Well, lay down, whatever. And so at 10 o'clock at school, which is 5 minutes before the passing period, well, yes, 5 minutes before the passing period, and we were going to lie down for 10 minutes. We were going to walk out of our class and lie down for the 10 minutes for the 10 victims of the Santa Fe shooting. And this was pretty much just like us being proactive and saying we want change, because we do want change. What happened in Santa Fe is terrible, and to think that we could be next, it's crazy.
Now, when you say walk out, you guys were still in the building.
Yeah, we didn't even leave the school.
Right, they were inside of the school.
We walked out of our classrooms and we laid down next to Big Al, Dickinson's mascot. And there's a big area, it's called the Gator Mall, and there's about 60 of us that just walked out of class at 10 o'clock, came in, laid down, and Dr. Smith, the principal, was there, and I'm not going to say she was supportive, but she wasn't, like, negative.
Of course, she wants you guys to stay
She
in class.
wants us to stay in class, but I got a lot of hate on Facebook.
A lot.
And
From your friends or
no,
From adults.
From
From
adults.
parents. Yeah, yeah.
and then on Twitter as well from students.
So what was the worst statement?
Well,
Say it.
there was one, and there was this parent, and we did this as something to be proactive. We were trying to be positive. That's why we didn't leave the campus. We were only out of class for 5 minutes at the end of a class period, which is pretty much nothing important.
Right.
And a parent who doesn't know anyone at the school, doesn't go to Dickinson, is an adult, came and said on Facebook that we did a die-in. And a die-in is whenever students lay on the ground, or not even students, anyone lays on the ground to act like they're dead. And
I read that.
it was like, why? That's not what we were doing. We were just...
There's other
It's-
demonstrations of this where people have done it and they've gone through the extra effort to have the makeup and
Have
everything else
fake
to
blood,
do it. Right.
have-
Yeah.
And
Chalk
Dickinson's done it
lines.
for
We
We used
years.
to do that in high school.
Yes,
to,
and then with my
for
many
drunk
years,
driving.
yes, for
Exactly.
many years for the
Yes.
fire
Faces white
department.
and had blood and
Yes.
everything.
Right,
Yeah.
we would have,
And-
they dress in all black, paint the
Yeah,
face white. They do
exactly,
it every
yeah.
single year for drunk driving awareness.
Yes.
And it was nothing like that. You guys had on green, didn't
We
you?
had on green
You had on green
shirts.
to support Santa Fe. Yeah.
And
Some little girl got bullied because she wanted to wear a Santa Fe shirt up in Austin.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
it's ridiculous.
So, you know, we are all trying to figure out, you know, how to protect the kids, but you're one of the kids that we're trying to protect, and you guys don't seem to have a voice.
We don't.
Yeah, so what you were trying to do is say, look, we're scared too, we're
Yeah.
affected, we agree with you guys, we want change too. This is all what we can do right now.
Exactly.
We're showing that we are backing the parents who are scared. We want change as well.
Yeah.
So I was not happy with how
No.
it went down on Facebook. I sent your mom a message, and I was like, you know, I want Hannah to, because Hannah, you've helped me with both of my businesses.
Yeah.
Including the day after the shooting.
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
I was not happy with, there was nothing positive. It was just a bunch of Billy badasses on their phones, behind their computer screens, attacking a child. You know what I mean?
More courage. That's
Exactly. Instead of saying, good job.
Yeah, I would say
Thank you
like
for organizing
a
this.
fourth of every single comment was good job. Maybe a fourth,
Yeah.
maybe less than that. And it was like, what?
And
Doesn't
that's
make
the
sense.
problem. So these are the same parents whose kids are, you know, bullying, maybe thinking of shooting up schools. You know, this is what they have as a role model.
So,
instead
Hannah.
of saying, yeah, go ahead, Roger.
So, Hannah, okay, so one thing we've noticed, if you look through all of history, and you'll see, anytime there is any major change, any big catalyst for anything, it was always a grassroots movement, and like go back to civil rights, right? Marching, walking around, being visible. So what you did, albeit on a small scale in just that school, because I didn't hear about it. Frankly, I don't watch the news. I don't watch anything. Give me Netflix, my own movies I bought, I'm good. So for me to find that stuff out just now through word of mouth, that's the trick. Word of mouth, all these ideas, there's a reason it's called viral videos. There's a reason why all these things are called viral, because they spread like that.
Right.
So what you're doing there, you're starting the beginning of the motion. The trick is, if you go outrageous and you're that loud, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers, but so be it. If you're that loud person at a school board meeting that you could tell, like, oh, you're the loud Walmart shopper saying, give teachers guns. No, stupid. That's not going to make any sense. You're not going to do anything. Organized, calm, cool, collected. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Here's what's going on. Here's what we need to talk about. So, Hannah, I want to ask you a question. What is it? You're the student. You're going to Dickinson. I had 2 cousins that graduated from there. My daughter will eventually go through there, both of them. What is it that you want to feel safe?
Well, I guess metal detectors would be a good thing, but that's
That's just one.
That's just one of the things.
Yeah.
I know as a student, we do lockdown drills, not technically active shooter drills. And a lockdown drill is pretty much you're in your classroom, you turn the lights off, you hide in a corner opposite of the door, and someone comes and beats on your door, and you're quiet. That's the extent of the lockdown drill.
So at your school, are these doors keeping you safe if I've got a shotgun or something?
Probably not. I wouldn't say that. If they locked the doors, maybe, but they don't.
What is the lockdown drill supposed to prepare you for?
You know, if I had an answer, I'd tell you,
It's a
because they don't
shelter-in-place.
actually tell us
Instead
what
of
they're
calling
for.
it what it is, an active shooter
They
drill.
call it a
what it
lockdown
is.
drill.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the answer?
No.
I mean,
Look,
we
here's
didn't
the thing.
prepare them on how to, I think we need to prepare the students on, what to do in different situations.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
There are way too many variables when you talk about a
There's
situation like that
way
to
too
say,
many variables.
here is the solution. Okay?
Yeah.
Because let's talk about this. We have the fire started, the fire's in the building. What do we
Right.
do? We got to attack the fire in the building. That's where it's the hottest. And then we can push the fire outside of the building, right? So let's say this plan to fix it, hashtag fix it. You want to start and say, drills, okay, they do things, but drills to stay in place, what does that do if the door isn't secure, if the barricade, if you don't have a impenetrable barrier, then what does a shelter in place do? You're a shooting gallery at that point, right? So then, okay, let's evacuate. Well, now it's a moving target practice, right? So you got to start with this one single idea. You got to poke holes in this idea. You have to do the root cause analysis, and this is what I have to do at my job sometimes. Where did this stem from? Where did this fail? Every time there's a football game, all the players go, we got to go back and watch the tape. We got to go back and watch the tape. So here's all the data. Here's how this presented itself. You got to use all these other situations, and here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. Here's how this person went. Here's all the tasks for it. So now you say, let's get lockdown shelter in place drill, whatever that is. You want to call it an active shooter
But as
drill?
parents,
Let's do it.
It has to be more than 30 minutes a year.
Right, 100%. Yeah,
What we're not seeing.
Right, so we start with that.
One hour if they get that, and then we move on to okay, we got that out of the way.
You start
So
with
it's
that,
basically
and then
so they can pass an audit. So you
Yes.
to say that we did this. It's not really to prepare the kids for
Anything.
these situations. You know what I mean? It's so when someone like Bud comes and says, "Did you do this?" They get a check mark or a number or something like that. It's just so they're doing it not. I'm not saying they're not trying to protect the kids, but they're doing it.
But remember, when I do this, that disrupts the testing. That disrupts their syllabus that they have. I teach at a college. I've got to follow a syllabus.
Yep.
So can I take a whole hour or 2 hours away?
Yes, as a teacher, you actually have days that you can. Okay, so you have X amount of days to teach this. They're called TEKs. Okay,
Right.
You have these days that you teach certain teaks. You have extended days that you can pour over if the kids aren't picking it up the way that you're teaching it. Because the idea is that you reteach. Now, these teaks go back to STAR testing. And what I was saying earlier is 11% of my students were homeless. I wanted to start an after-school program on my own time, my own money, and teach parents how to fill out job applications,
Right.
how to interview for jobs, how to fill out, paperwork for public housing. I was told no, that STAR testing was more important.
We're telling them that
Okay.
STAR testing is
Yeah.
more important than their safety.
Exactly. So taking an hour out of time, that's not going to be a problem with teaching your teaks as long as you're teaching them properly and effectively.
In the first place.
Right.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
as long as you're identifying the children that need that extra help and using your tutorial time as it's supposed to be used.
Right.
I
Not
mean,
the break time.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, guys, like, if you could just spend a week in a public school and see how it really runs, it's a popularity contest not only against kids, but
It's
for
the
students.
staff too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a question. One of the 20 proposals, are we going to have time to go over that for the governor? Or are we running out of time?
What? No, I don't think we had set a time.
Yeah. So one of his 20 plans was parents will be able to watch live stream videos from the school like a daycare.
They can't do that because of FERPA. Because then you've got the issue of, when
Right.
we were in school.
Well, what is FERPA?
Okay,
Explain.
FERPA is like HIPAA laws. You can't, as a teacher, discuss another child's disabilities, learning disabilities, behavioral
Show
issues,
pictures.
or anything like that. You can't show pictures of that. You can't have any indication that that's happening with any particular student. So that
But
being
if every
said,
parent signs that you can take
that release, then that's a possibility. But you're going to have people who don't want that to happen because they don't want their kids to freak out on camera. They don't want that to be seen that their child has Tourette's syndrome and has tics. You're going to have kickback on that. Like I say, there's so many pieces to this puzzle. We got to figure out where to take the pieces and how to fit them all together.
Okay, so you're talking about the cameras there. That would be in the classroom?
Like what?
The only cameras in classrooms in Texas on a public school that I know of are with the special education class.
Right.
Right.
And here's the thing, though, is that special education's not like it used to be. So special education used to be separate, right? When us older people were in school, special education was separated. Now it's integrated, which I'm not saying I agree with it or I don't agree with it. What I'm saying is the problem is once again, it goes to that whole ignorance breeding hate because you can't tell students, you know what, this child is autistic. That is the reason that they do the things that they do. So then the kids bully that child because he's different.
Right.
Okay? Because if anybody's different, that's weird, right? Okay? Like you did something different.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yep.
And I commend you on that. That's
did that make you
amazing.
feel?
That is amazing.
For when you first saw those ugly posts.
It was like what we did we thought was so positive, and then getting all this negative feedback from grown adults was like,
Well,
why?
How did that make you feel?
It was like,
Belittled?
yes, it was very belittling. It was like we did something that we thought was so positive, and then they said all of these negative things, and it just made you feel like what you did was worthless because they're being so rude, and they're adults, and it didn't make sense. And
Right, so you said it made you feel worthless. It made you feel like what you did wasn't worth it. So now, what are the chances of you wanting to do something like that again? Because you think it's going to fall on deaf ears, right?
No, this child won't. She will try to do it
I
again.
will
You
do
know what
it
I'm
over
saying?
and over and over and
I've
over
known her some
again.
years. She'll keep doing it. Yeah.
But that starts the idea of if I do this and it doesn't get any traction, like we spoke earlier about the bullying, if you can't go to your teacher and explain something and really get some credible feedback on that, well, then I'm not going to do it because nobody cares.
It breaks their spirit.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
um,
And I believe that's what's happened over and over with these school shootings is you have the peak, you have where people want to take action, they get a feedback from the school, yep, you're right, we're going to start doing these drills, and the parents are like, all right, cool. And
it's
then the
putting
next
a
time
Band-Aid
something
over it.
happens,
Yeah.
if we keep scratching that scab, if we can keep that action going, I really think that we can push
You
forward
said
and
it
get
the
something
best.
done.
I'm going to make sure this happens because
Yeah.
it's my tax money.
Right.
It's my
Right.
community.
It's our
And these
kids.
are
Yeah.
these are my kids,
These are our
our
kids,
kids
yeah.
that we're trying to protect. And ultimately, with the Facebook group that we started,
Tell us about that because that's how we all got here. And I'm going to say real quick, I think we could stay here for a month talking about what the problems
Right.
are. But
24/7.
right. So, but we're gathered here to start with. This is step one: a meeting of like minds. We all
Right.
want the same thing. So, what's step two? You and Jimmy Mullins started a Facebook page. What's the title? Is that it?
Yeah.
Students Stay Home from DISD for the school year of 2018-19. So, while
under
people
an
try to
event.
tear it down, they're like, you can't keep your kids home. Da, 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 da.
Well, how many
We're just
people
doing that
right
to get
now?
attention, and that's what it does. You know, I see that. I saw that. I'm like, oh, what? I got to keep Scholar at home all day? What's going on? So that's an attention getter. That is a threat. Yes, we will keep our kids home. You're not going to get that money until we can send our schools to feel protected. So give us the background behind this. It's really a movement because you guys are posting.
It is.
daily.
We are trying to get attention, obviously, and we have. We're at 525 or
You
so.
got people talking.
And people are talking. A lot of people are talking. A lot of people are not getting involved with the group, but they're still talking about it. I know parents that are teachers have talked about it. I've had a few messages, a few encounters, and I've pretty much discredited them. The thing is are we demanding before our students go back to school that you have metal detectors in place? No. But if you don't do something, my student will not go there.
Right.
At the elementary schools, just for instance, you cannot walk through the front door of the school
You can't.
and get access to the children unless you are let through a secondary door. Why is that done here at the elementary schools,
But not the high school.
but not the high school?
Yeah.
And why is it that at the elementary schools they do have watchdog programs? Dad's on guard duty or something like
Not
that?
all of them. Mine does not.
Oh, really?
Right.
But
That's
it's
why I'm
easier
here.
to
We
get a
need
group
it.
like that
I've
at
gotta-
elementary than
Yes.
it is in high school.
Well, why is that though?
Because it's like our kids are older, and it comes like, oh, my kid's in band. They've got to get in the band hall by a certain time, or my kids got to go to this club. They need the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right.
Their kids are more involved in things, but it's our job to make sure that they're safe.
Exactly. Ultimately, it's our job. I mean, it's our
Yes. It's
Naturally
your job to
given-
protect Trace, right? And
Right.
it's my job to protect Skylar.
Right.
But they're all grouped together, so we need to band together and figure out a way to protect them all. But what do we do?
Well, the thing is, we have to do something. That's the biggest thing. Is we have to do something, and that's what this movement, this Facebook group, was intended for. Was for all the parents to get together, for us to sit down, we meet, have situations like this. Are we going to be able to get all 500 people in the same place at the same time? Lord help me. We'll probably never get out of there.
Well,
but
I'd be like, Eric, can you call me and let me know?
let me know what y'all came up with.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is, we have to start some type of dialogue to where we can approach the school board and demand them to do something.
And so I think every school in this district needs to have a watchdog program. Not all of them do. What about going back to clear backpacks? I hated the idea in the beginning, but that makes a lot of sense. Right. And let's secure the perimeters, control the flow of people. There are multiple exits at high school just by the way the building was built was added on and on and on and on. And so are we locking the doors when kids are in school?
No.
Who goes by and makes sure those doors are locked?
Nobody.
So what schools are,
We need to
what,
do
what
that.
doors are unlocked other than, you know, you go into Dickinson High School, you go through the first set of doors, and you have to go to the front office to get the access to the main hallway. But there's so many other doors, I mean, that you guys have access to. We're not even talking about where cosmetology's at, where the old buildings
that's
are.
AB Hall.
Those
All those doors are
unlocked.
Let me-
always unlocked.
Yeah.
Always unlocked.
Let me ask you this,
Early
Anna.
or
If I
something.
was to be a bad person and I walked up to the school, how long would it take, regardless of where I parked my vehicle, to get into the door without having somebody at the front office see me?
Oh.
30
Oh,
seconds,
30
45
maybe.
seconds?
The field house. Always walk in through the field house. You can always walk in through the band hall. You can always walk in through AB hall. You can always walk in by, I think it's in hall. You can always walk in by the gym. The in hall. That's in hall. There's the cafeteria. I can
it's
think
like
of like
that.
15 doors.
So is
Right.
it like that? So the kids that are in those groups have access to go into those parts of the building all the time?
It's because they change classes. It's because the high school is so freaking huge. Maybe if they made the passing period 7 minutes instead of 4 minutes, or 6 minutes instead of 4 minutes, then you wouldn't have to walk through both doors. Yeah.
Right.
They can, because we did
And
a
that's a
thing for
safety
PTO.
issue
They're
for all
always
the
open.
kids.
They're
It's
always open.
Not
yeah.
only is it giving them access to be able to go in and out of these different places, but anybody can get in.
It's giving
Anybody.
someone access to get inside where our kids
Exactly.
are.
What's sad is that if I leave something at home and I need my mom to bring something, I can say, "Hey, Mom, will you come to the in-hall door? I can get this from you."
And then
Right.
we're not even thinking about the classes, some of the special education classes that are in the
Temporary
portables.
buildings.
Yes.
They're completely out there by themselves.
Yeah.
There's nothing out, and I didn't even know that until this year that they were back there like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
There's
like,
nothing back there. We did a
There's nothing.
safety assessment a few years back on Dickinson on just this point from an old company I worked for. And I was like, dude, this campus is open. You've got trailers.
It is wide open.
trailers, yeah.
wide
mhm.
open.
Wide open.
And see,
So, Kinsey, how do we prepare for this meeting that's coming up on June 4th? How do we prepare for it, and how do we get more people to show up, more parents to show up
well,
to
you
join
know,
this cause?
Yeah, I don't have all the answers, but we can go. Just do it.
Right.
Just do it. Just come. Just show up, and then we'll figure it out as we go along. But there are some definite actions, really, that we can take, and they're not that hard, and they don't cost any money.
What are they?
At this
Exactly.
point?
Here.
Well, for example, we have social media. We can pull together our districts. We can pull together our PTA, our PTO, and ask them volunteers. When it's meet the student night, let's get volunteers. Let's start there. Let's work with the mayor. Let's work with the superintendent. Let's find out what they're doing and acknowledge what they're doing, and then let them know what we need.
Well,
And then let's
when
hold
you
them
said that,
accountable.
can I
We've
ask
gotta
you a
hold them
question?
accountable. Yeah.
When you said the mayor and the school district, but there's a rift there.
Wherever, you know what? But these are
How do we get them to come together to work
They're
for this
still
cause?
parents.
We're
They're
Yes,
still
yeah,
parents.
yeah, you're right.
We go back to that cord, that common cord. And the end of the day, our future is our children.
Right.
And if we allow them to be complacent, then it's just going to go on for generations. This is a cycle that we have got to break, and we can fix it. We can fix it. We can
Right.
do
We
it.
can fix it.
Right.
And so we really got to work on, I really think, manning those fronts.
Yes.
Until we can figure it out as we go along, and we've got to be real sensitive and caring to each other, not to turn into any debates. We all have our ideas. It's not working. It's not fixed. The fact that we talked about how many exits that's open, it scares me
Right.
that we're in this forum, that even if it's
Bad
public,
guys
now we've
know
just
that.
let
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. if
They
a
always
student
know.
tried,
Of course,
know.
they, yeah.
We just told-
They're the ones skipping school.
Right.
I worked with the troubled kids.
Yeah.
All I did was walk the halls, making sure they were in class.
Were you a volunteer or a teacher?
No,
or-
I was an aide. I worked.
Okay.
They were in and out, in and out, in and out. Those kids,
Constant.
I chased them in and out of those doors.
Yep.
So they could go back to class.
Yep.
Are there cameras there?
Just because there's cameras, that doesn't mean
That
they
doesn't mean that-
watch
There's nothing there
them.
to stop
There's-
them.
They don't.
And who's monitoring the cameras, right? Are they?
Say
You
that
think-
again. There's no one sitting there
Okay, we got
monitoring the
cameras,
cameras.
think,
but
but there's
are we
not.
paying someone to sit there and
Nope.
monitor? Let's
No.
pay someone to sit outside and.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah, I had a radio that would say whatever to whatever.
Right.
And, the police would come and they would help and whatever. But it was my job. I wasn't scared.
What-
I loved working.
Let's
with
go to the
kids.
state capitol, for instance. Somebody's monitoring. There's cameras all the time upstairs.
Right.
But they won't do it at a school.
Speaking of monitoring.
When you look at Parkland, that was one of their failings. Nobody was watching those cameras, even though they had them.
The cameras are there for when something does happen. You can say, well, let's go back and see what happened.
Right.
Then you still
Yeah.
can't see it as a parent.
Yeah.
Speaking of monitoring, are
Yeah.
you allowed to be friends with your teachers on Facebook?
No.
It's the rule. The rule is not until they have graduated.
Graduated, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the rule. But here's the thing. I get that. I don't necessarily want my students to see what I do on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I mean, of course we're human. We
Yeah.
all do things, whatever. It's not that I'm like some weirdo, but
Yeah.
but my point is that we should have the ability to be friends with our students on Facebook, on social media. Whether we have a separate account that Mrs. Hammond's account or
Yeah.
whatever,
Mhm.
to where I can see, because Dimitri showed on his
Facebook.
It was totally like you could have totally projected that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy
and
that nothing happened.
As a student, other students look at it and they go, "Oh, that's just somebody being dramatic."
Well, and I
Or
don't
even-
think,
or
I don't
even he's
think
just weird.
necessarily
Like-
there's a very easy way that could have been stopped as well.
Yes.
if the students, not to blame the students, but the students that were friends with him on Facebook spoke up. It's all about being proactive. The parents are trying to do what we can to be proactive. We need the students' help as well. It gets back all the communication. Communication
the
always
communication,
ruin everything, the communication breakdown. So that's the main thing that we're trying to do is, as parents, one of our deals as far as fixing it is bringing up the communication between the parents and the students. And encouraging our students to become more communicative with the other students.
You don't have parents that are committed. That is a problem.
When we set up the PTO table at the high school for Meet the Parent Night, people run past the PTO table.
You know, and
They just do.
and
you know?
I've got a big thought that's going to change.
I think so
this
too.
year.
I hope so, but you know, my point in this is that even if Dimitri would have been called out, what would have happened? Somebody would have asked him, what does this mean?
Yeah.
He probably would have said, oh,
He'd have come up with something.
yeah, right?
But he still would have been on a radar.
He would have been put on a radar.
Psychologically evaluated, because that is
Yeah.
cause
Yeah.
for psychological evaluation.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying
It's all
is
steps that we could
you
take from
guys
here on. The
are
fact is,
you're
we need to
on
do
the
it.
front lines. You're saying metal detectors. You're saying we're not coming back unless it's safe.
Volunteers, promote,
Right.
Yes.
city
Yeah.
promote,
What can we do?
citywide, yeah.
So I want you guys to have an understanding of what my plan is and what our mission is. Our mission is to come up with an actual plan to be implemented to have an effective outcome whenever these students are brought to the attention.
Well,
Yeah.
Right?
Kelly,
Yeah.
right now, if something comes to the attention of the superintendent, a lot of times we go, take it to the board. You heard that?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take it
Yeah.
to the board, which could be weeks. Or
Months.
days,
Yeah.
or months.
Why didn't we have
And
an
now-
emergency
now
school
you've
board
got
meeting in
this
Dickinson?
kid
That's my question too.
I don't understand
Why?
that because other districts did.
Yeah, they did it immediately. And,
Right.
And with my history with not necessarily the board, I guess with the high school principals, this knock on wood mentality of it won't happen here,
You never
it needs
know
to
that.
go away. Because if we've got a student stating, you never know if it's going to happen here, we need to do something right now. The time is now. We've got to get something done. And let's open it up for discussion. You know, I hope to God that whenever we get there on June 4th, that the school board decides to open it up before you parents that want to speak, while we allow you to speak. This is what we are putting into place
That
now.
would be.
We have already started
Right.
taking action. I hope to God that's what we show up in here.
Continuation Center, DCC, do they
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Delta
Yeah.
and
So
DCC.
I used I went for free 3 times a week, and I did a drug and alcohol abuse class for the students at DCC. Okay, I did this for a year and a half. I finally stopped doing it because I had a full-time job. I was going to college. I couldn't afford the gas and the time to keep going back and forth. Because school wouldn't fund me. You know, I have these kids. I still see them to this day. You know, and yeah, some of them may work at Church's Chicken or McDonald's or whatever. But they say thank you. You helped
See,
me. Thank you.
with
You know,
kids, if you're only there one day for them, you're gonna go, oh, there's that old man from I'm Bully Free. But there's organizations in Galveston that we work with. They go, oh, that's the guy that's the anti-bully guy, and he's helping us. But if I'm only there one day out of the year, guess what? I'm just another organization that's just doing this.
Yeah.
So it has to. What do kids want? Repetition. They want.
They need that.
Yes, they need that.
So speaking of repetition and saying, I don't want to get the idea across that like us three here are part of this little group here that says we're not going to send our kids back to school without metal detectors.
Right.
Here's
Yeah.
what we are. We just all happen to find each other. We decided, yes, something has to change. And the next question is, well, what? So here's the deal. We have ideas because we came together. We just happen to talk. Let's start when we say, like, follow Haley's rule there. Let's upset the establishment. Let's start ruffling the feathers, whatever needs to be done. Here's something everybody can easily do. One phone call a day to their office and say, what have you guys done to make our school safe? And the next day, every one of us calls again. I'm saying the city. I'm saying if you have a vested interest, a child, blow those phones up.
And go to, Dr. Representative Greg Bonin, go to the governor, write everybody. It's free to do it, and you can go and just even on your phone, they have a great thing. You just click and point and give them your mind. So
And there's enough kids at the high school that their parents could do that every day.
Right.
You know, like my day's
Right.
Monday. I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can do it.
Oh,
and we have to do it in numbers because the power comes in numbers, and we are going to hold them accountable, and we're going to work with them. And I want them to listen to some of our suggestions, and sometimes they say we can't do it.
And the students could even do that on Twitter, because I know I put something on Twitter and I said, I added the Dickinson Independent School District, and I said, what are you going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do?
She's bold. She does.
Very
she
bold.
really is.
And what did they say?
My Twitter page is only maybe 200 followers, not even that. And I mean, if
It's a
more
start.
people would do that, then
What was the response?
Yeah.
they said, well, I asked why they put new turf in.
sure
I was
made
sure
a
mad. I was sure mad because they just
Yeah.
put new turf in, and I get it. It was damaged during the flood, and I knew that, but it was like, as a student, not realizing that at first, but just first thought saying, why did they put new
that what we're
turf in?
thinking about
Is
now?
that all they care about? Is
Right.
football? Like,
Well, because the timing was just extremely bad because they posted it on Twitter, and I
On
saw that, I was
Twitter.
like, that's kind of
and
tacky in
what
a way,
they said
you know?
was like, we care about our students. And I was like, do you really though?
It's the
Like,
same thing over and over again. We care about our students, but it's like,
You
and
can
our
talk all
student
you want, but
safety,
until you
but-
show
yeah, you walk
actions.
the walk. Okay, so since we're all here, Kenzie, start us on a plan. What can we do? What can we do when we get up from here today? What do we do? How do we get other people for us to join forces?
Well, okay, I like I said, here's what I would do. I would reach out via email or phone.
I'm going to write this down.
I mean, if y'all find a better way, tell me. But
No. I think that's
start with
perfect.
your principal, your respective principal, and then we need to talk to the PTA and kind of formulate a plan. Again, that problem comes with the lack of volunteer and help. I just directly called the director of communications when he hadn't put out a letter by mid-morning, and so then I got to Robert Cobb, the superintendent. Right,
Assistant
email,
superintendent.
assistant superintendent. We're getting a new one next year.
We don't even know who that is yet, but it's someone in district.
And then it led me to the representative and the governor, and then I spoke to the mayor. And so I think we'll do something. Don't just let us do it. We need numbers. That's
Right.
the power in this. It's not us.
Yeah.
We're powerless really unless we have each other. So, and then let's get people to man the doors. That's
Yes.
what needs to happen until we figure all
least
this
first.
out.
We need
At first,
volunteers to do
Until
that.
we can get
Right.
something that's in place that's stationary,
Exactly.
we need to make.
And it's going to inconvenience some people, but our kids' lives are worth it, and we can fix
Yes.
it. We can fix it.
That's something
We
so
can do
easy
it.
for us. I mean, I drop my kid off at the high school. I'm there every day anyway, dropping her off and picking her up.
Right.
Those days are coming to an end because she's getting a driver's license soon.
Let's
But
start
still,
there.
we have the time we can do that.
But we have to do it, right? We have to, because otherwise no action leads to inaction, and we need the numbers. Mm-hmm. So somehow, it's online, it's on Facebook. Just Google your representatives. We're District 24.
Okay.
Representative Greg Bonin, and I got phone numbers and I got email addresses. So.
And more often than not, they have Twitter accounts, they have Facebook accounts. Some of them even have Instagram, which I think is weird, but whatever. And you can always at them on Twitter. You can always message them on Facebook, and often they'll answer, or they'll get an automated message. But that's more than nothing. And if you keep responding to that, then someone's going to actually respond in real life.
Hannah,
Remind me to never get on Hannah's bad side, everyone.
Hey, Hannah, what would you, in your mind as a student, what would you like to see first?
For what, sorry?
What would you like to see first to feel safe? What would you, like, three
For
things
your safety.
You as a student, because you go there every day, what would you like to see first?
The first thing I'd like to see is the doors locked. I think metal detectors would be good, but I don't exactly know how to feel about that because I think it'd be a lot of training, and I know we could do that over the summer, but still. I'm not saying, but this is so hard to think of because
Well, I got
there's
a
so many
question.
things that you could put in place that would help, and it's hard to say which one would be better. Which one should we do first?
Right.
Where would you want us to
Here's
start?
a question as a student. If I said it took an extra hour to get into school because of whatever device we're using, metal detectors, is that worth it to you to feel safe so we don't have another incident?
And here's the deal, that hour that it takes to get in, that's only the first week or two. Because another thing that should be done is you stagger the start times.
Right.
Right.
So
Exactly,
now here's the
but
deal. And so hold on, you
But
stagger the
for a
start
little
times.
delay, would
It's-
you feel safer with that, knowing that we're going to take the gun issue out of the front door?
What?
Does that make sense?
You felt safer at college of the mainland.
I go to college of the mainland more than I go to the high school because I'm in a collegiate program, but I do feel safer at COM.
Why?
Because there's police everywhere. There's more than two.
Yeah, because there's only 2 at the high school.
And there's multiple entrances there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you see one all the time while you're walking around.
Exactly. And, you know, Texas City just hired someone, a safety person. Robert Cobb is our safety guy, and he's an assistant principal. So guess what? We need to, from what I understand, so where are we at with that? You can't wear all these hats and expect to really have good focus.
As far as I'm concerned, Texas City really put their money where their mouth is.
That sounds great to me what Texas City did.
It was very quick, and evidently it was already in play before the incident at Santa Fe happened.
What did they do?
They hired, do not know his first name, Mr. Matranga. Mike Matranga.
To do what?
He's a former U.S. Secret Service agent. Went from there to work on the border, I believe. I'm not down with the facts. And that's the other thing. I know several students that are graduates of Dickinson that are now FBI agents. I know that there's something federally we can get, whether it's volunteer hours. There's got to be something we can do.
Right.
We just need to create a dialogue with the school
Yes.
in order to get something done.
I would like to see an academy. Broward County is where Parkland happened, but Polk County, 3 hours away, they created an academy. Tomahawk Securities, I think is the name, but they are actually training retirees, ex-vets, ex-police, and so now they actually have that in place and they're guarding their schools.
I think that would be
And
great.
we can do that, and we can guard our parking lots. So if it do
Yes.
something in the trench coat,
Yes.
Parking lot.
I'm down in Jamaica Beach every week, and everywhere across there, all these guys that are retired like me, I've got an extra 5 hours a week
Exactly.
to come and
that's
look
my
at my
point.
background. It's pretty clean.
And especially with the retirees that are military retirees. These guys were trained. Like, this is what they eat, sleep, and breathe for years and years and years. They can react. So the whole movement with Army teachers and stuff, let's not even get into it. A teacher wants to teach. They
Right.
want to care for the children.
Yeah. And they need
Is
to
a
be safe,
teacher
too, while they're at
honestly
school.
going
They
to
wanna
be
Be a
able?
ranger.
Yeah.
Is the teacher honestly going to be able to pull a gun and aim it at one of its own students if that student has a gun?
That's
Probably not.
and you know, these
So
retired.
to me, that's not the
They're
answer.
going to try to negotiate with that kid. And I'm saying that because that's what I mean, I've had a kid spit on me. I've had a student wipe blood on me, you know, and you're going to, if a kid were there with the gun and I had to pull a gun on one of my students, I would do everything I could do not to shoot that
Right.
student.
That's a knee-jerk reaction when you hear people say, here's a shooting, ban all the ARs, ban all the assault rifles, the fully semi-automatic, they don't know what they're talking about, but it's just a knee-jerk reaction to go. So the complete opposite of that, which when you look at demographics, that would be the typical thing that type of person in that type of area would say. And then over here, you have a certain different type that would say, arm the teachers. No, they're both equally wrong as far as the extremist. But a lot of things that have gone on with a lot of these different schools, you hear the parents talking and they're just the loud people. You have students that are talking and they're also being loud, rightfully so. The thing that I haven't seen yet, maybe I'm wrong, I'm just getting into this because it's become real to me. How many of these groups are partnering with the students and just saying, you guys let us know what you want because we know some people,
'Cause they're
we
there
can get
every
some
day.
things doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want because we will be the advocates for you.
And the teachers.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
teachers.
Right. So, like, I'm looking at Hannah, and I'm not saying I don't want to be here and say, here's what we should do, here's the ideas, we're going to do this. I'm like, Hannah, what do you want me to work on?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that's it, because I know, and it's unfortunate, if she goes and has a meeting with someone and she talks, she's not going to be taken seriously.
Yeah,
So
I'm
let's just-
17.
Look what
Yeah.
he did just with the school.
Exactly.
And they tore
And,
apart.
and you know the thing is it's an interpretation issue, just like our Facebook group has been interpreted the wrong way,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Wanting their 15 minutes of fame.
Right, and
Yeah,
we were accused of keeping our kids home from school just to run around
Well,
crazy.
how about the people just didn't ask
happened
the
over in
question
Canadian.
about it? Like, what, like, you and I talked, then I talked to Jimmy, because I was like, oh, the kids are so, what? Ask questions. We're so ready to attack.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I get it, because we all have that attack mode in us, but it's just ask questions, because once I got to see, I'm like, okay, they're not trying to keep the kids, tell everyone to keep their kids home. It is an option that we all do have.
Right.
Because I don't want here's the thing. If someone said, oh, don't go to that McDonald's, it was just robbed, does not stay. We're not going to let our kids go to that McDonald's anymore.
Ever again.
Ever again.
It doesn't matter
But
if
we're
it's
letting them
10 years
go.
later, you're going to
Exactly.
drive 15
Yeah.
miles to go to the next,
A
or
different
5
one.
miles, sorry, not 15.
Yeah,
And when we
exactly.
send-
We've done surveys at other areas, and if I said 200 kids, 25% of them said that they were afraid to go to the mall because of violence. And you
Right.
see that, would you send your kid?
Absolutely not.
Well, we did a survey in a school in another city. 25% of the kids said they were afraid to go to school. Guess what we got? Nothing.
Nobody cares.
Exactly.
It was in the paper.
And that's
Not even-
the point is,
Afraid to go to the
that's
school.
why we've got that shock of we're keeping our kids home is also to challenge the parents. Is it really that important to you? We need to know from the parents, is it really that important to where you'll say, you know what, yeah, they're not going to go to school, or they're not going to go to Dickinson. But if another school does it, every school district has an open campus, pretty much around us.
Yes.
So whether it ends up being the one right down the road, almost in chemo, I'm not going to say any names, so I don't want to ruffle those feathers, but I've already talked to our oldest. He's like, I'll go.
Keisha, you asked me, where do we start?
Yeah.
And let's go to the school board. That's where we start.
Go to the school
right.
board meeting. Do we need to meet before
I
that?
believe we do.
Sure, let's meet at
Yeah.
6,
I think-
5:30 or 6. Let's do it. We come in peace. I don't
Right.
want any debating. I don't want any bantering back and
Yeah.
forth, or there's no anger. We're,
There's not anger.
Ask for a special meeting. And then we also need to have a listing. We all have our own school board people for our area.
okay,
Right.
so we need to ask for a listing, and we.
It has to be my name.
Okay.
Say that again. You said we each have a
A school
special
board has a
person?
different area within
I want
the
her to be
district.
heard.
Oh.
So can you please come up?
It's just like each county has a representative for Galveston County.
Yeah.
Where you live, the school district is zoned.
Right.
Each zone.
I didn't know they had
Yeah.
a person. I didn't know that.
Isn't that awesome?
I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay.
What is their
Criteria.
Let's get her on mic just kind of, because I didn't know that at all.
Oh, yes. So
Can you repeat what you just said? Because I didn't know that at all.
2 people being elected.
Every school board
yeah.
member in the city of Dickinson.
Can you introduce yourself real quick?
My
for
name's
us?
Pam Cebulski.
Okay.
And I have a student who will be a senior this year.
Okay.
And
You can take that off. I think that mic you can.
Oh
pull it
no,
off
I'm
there.
good. I'm good.
Okay.
Everyone here in this district has a school board member for where they live in proximity with a map.
Okay.
You have your own representative that you can go to and speak with
Okay.
and request to talk to them and bring them things.
I had no idea.
Mine
that-
happens to be my neighbor.
Okay.
And I've used her many times.
Mm-hmm.
We can get a list and a map, and I can try to secure that for us.
That would be great.
But that it should be.
Is it on the
online.
website? Okay.
I believe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who's mine, right?
Should be a map that shows which district.
Okay. Okay.
I think that we need to start
Yeah.
with the school board and your representative and ask for a special meeting to go from there, because our school board is going to be have a lot of say-so with our new superintendent, and we're going to have to be forceful with our school board, or we're going to vote them out.
There you
Right.
go.
That's
And we
that's
can
the
do
deal,
that.
is if you don't take action on the things that the people that can vote you out,
Same with our mayor.
yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Same with
yeah.
the mayor.
Because this board that's now is going to be who picks our new superintendent.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, but on a light note, they do seem to be supportive. So
They
I don't know
seem
if that was.
open, yeah.
They do seem open.
We are
but
open, it's just not smoke
That's
and mirrors.
nice,
Well, and
but we
will
got to
it
see
last?
action. It's all about
You know what I
action.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they're open to it, but it's kind of like, oh, it's new. We got to do something. How do we keep them? It is going to be us keeping them
We be
accountable
kind,
for
we
it.
be gentle, we would be relentless. That's a Gandhi saying. and I'm
Right.
going by it.
Go
There's
look
no
at
try,
A
we do
Legacy
it. You
in
know.
Katy. There's a web
Yeah.
page. Go look what they've done. There was a group of parents that kept going to the school board. Just go look at that group.
And I believe that if we do go meet with the school board, I think a student representative needs to be there. That doesn't
Most
necessarily
definitely.
have
Right.
to be me, but there needs to be a student representative because
There could be more than one student.
exactly,
I mean, yeah,
yes,
to come.
because
Yeah.
I'm a senior. I've
Right.
already gone through 4 years of high school. I mean, 3 years of high school, going on 4. Both of my brothers went to high school. I'm not going to say I have experience in high school, but I have a different viewpoint than like a parent would.
freshman,
I
yeah,
have a
and a
different
parent,
viewpoint
yeah.
than a freshman.
Yeah.
I have a different viewpoint than many people. Exactly. Yeah.
And you've already
Yes.
started advocating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be great if the kids would show up to the meeting too. That's
Right.
probably something they've
I
never
think-
seen before was a big group of kids coming to the school board
Because I didn't
meeting.
even know that like I could go to a board meeting. I didn't even know that because it's not like I'm not gonna say it's not advertised, but
It's not advertised.
it's not advertised.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, get my cousin Gabe. He's in debate.
so I understand this next school board meeting, they're going to go over the budget, and there's going to be very limited time. I think our objective there would be to schedule another special meeting of some
Right.
sort, and we want to know that our schools are safe in terms of manning the doors. Number one,
But
That's
doing
where
the
I think we
budget-
got to start very small, and then we'll build, and we do it together. I think that's-
Yes, we have to do it together. It's not going to be no matter if each one of us has a different way that we think it should be done. The root of it is we want our kids to be safe. So we just all pull together. How do I look on camera, Eric?
I
You
want
look
to say,
good.
Keisha, I
I'll
want to
make you look a little bit better, I'd have to say.
Keisha, I
but-
want to mention something. It's Dickinson person I graduated with, Jeanette, mentioned she's in Colorado, and they've dealt with is that Columbine, Aurora. So
yeah.
that state is light years ahead of Texas in
Yeah.
terms of
Right.
some websites, which I need to get over to the Facebook page on how to report bullying. What is bullying from your perspective versus mine? How do we report? Give different ways if you like to text, phone, whatever.
Right.
So they have some. We need to take a real good look at Colorado because unfortunately they have been way before. So let's
Right.
we can do that. We can. I
Right.
plan to do some research on that and then make some. If we go to the board, we better have some nice suggestions. We don't just
Yeah.
go to complain, right?
And we better be able to answer
that's
their
the point
questions, too.
I think
Yeah.
that's the point that Jimmy wanted to get across is
Right.
let's start a dialogue. We need to get a dialogue going between the parents and the school.
Yes.
And let's do something to fix it.
Right.
Whatever
that's
it
what you
takes.
said, the PTO. That's why they're to form that bridge between
Right.
the parents, the teachers, and the students. So we're all working for one cause.
And,
Right.
and that's right. And we got to work with them. We're not
Right,
Working, we want
most
to work
definitely.
with them, not against them.
Right. Well, I would love if we could get together before the meeting, just to kind of, you know what I mean, in a setting and
Yeah,
get
100%.
together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If 5 people from each school in Dickinson, or whoever's listening to this, I'm going to go. Okay, I'm going to call my friend. I'm going to call this parent. Let's go. Let's make it a guys' night out, girls' night out.
Yes.
Bring your kids, whatever. But we got to do it. It's all talking.
I'll be there, and I'm coming with a camera.
Yay. Okay.
So it's, we will be there. We're going to come as a camera. I come with a camera. I would like to get together and hear more about, because of course we can't stay here all day, but I want to hear more about what you have and your ideas, because you guys are way more knowledgeable
Right.
about the.
We've been doing a lot of work.
Invested time in that, and you
In a
guys
very
have started
very
a
short period of
movement,
time, we've done
Done a lot.
got a lot of footwork done,
Right.
and the thing is we'll have another week to do
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Right.
We believe that there's other people out there that have a lot more information.
Yeah.
Get in touch with us.
Right.
Message us on Facebook. Any
Give them
one
all of your
us.
contact information. How you guys prefer to be contacted?
I can take a text, although I have to drive very straight while I'm at work. So just
Give them your
from my
email or.
yes. So I have an experience more 21 at outlook.com. My cell phone number is 281-814-4346. You can text me, say, hey, my name is so-and-so. Can I call you? And I will give you a time to give me a shout whenever I'm available. Kinsey?
So I'll be happy to share. Kinsey Conway, that's KenZieConway at yahoo.com. And my cell phone number is 210-218-4545. 5079. I just also want to point out AmericansForClass.org, the Texas Associate Advocates for Safe School, and then another event Facebook page, Students Stay Home, DISD 2018 through 19 until schools are secure, August 20th. That's the event date. And then there's also one of Act Now.
So I was a little more prepared. I set up a Google phone number separate on my phone so as to not blow up my personal
My
tag.
cell is going to be messed.
So, yeah, rest in peace, both of your cell phones. No, Roger Delacruz. Yeah, Roger Delacruz. Number that you can reach me at, it will go to my phone, 281-715-0010. Here's the other thing. Don't just consider us the spearheads of this. We are not the only ones. There's no ego. We've already spoke with a few people, Kenzie especially, and had some ideas that they wanted to, here's what things, can we give us some information and share some things with us? Well, who are you with? All that stuff. That's a bad attitude. If we're sitting here trying to get some things going and nobody wants to share, for whatever ego is going on, whatever ideology that you have there, and you don't want to share those things with us, that's the wrong attitude. So if you're curious where we're going and you're curious where we are going to have to meet, okay, great, we can share that stuff. Maybe we need to update that page with different calendar invites, and that's one place where you can kind of get an idea of where the group holistically is.
Right.
But don't think of us as the face of this.
Yeah, I'm not the face of anything.
Right.
Yeah, and neither am I. I'm just out there, that's all. So if you think about contacting me, you do it. Yeah?
Right.
If you want me to, if I can help, yes. But
You have a lot of different social... it's weird. I don't want to say social justice warriors, but when you have social activists, if you've ever been on the internet, Haley, I'm sure you're familiar, Anonymous. That's one group that has no face. It's all a group. They're all unified in one certain thing, but they're all just acting on their own with the common goal.
Right.
So it's, I got this. I'm really good at doing this. Great. How can you use that for the goal? If you got nothing to do on a Wednesday, you're sitting around hanging out, make some phone calls and bug some people, because that's the start. You've done your thing. We don't have to, we don't want names and letterheads and here's our stuff and here's this and whatever the deal is. Everybody's going with the same goal of protecting the schools. I'm going to hold my school accountable where I say I'm giving you my child in a certain condition. I expect you to return her back in that same condition.
Right.
So
yes.
That's where I'm coming from. That's my dog in the fight. And because I saw the poor child that was in that helicopter that flew over my place when it got real to me, that's close. I no longer can just watch TV and turn it off and think, yeah, the apocalypse is happening, but it's happening in the Middle East. And now, the apocalypse is happening, but it's happening in other states with the school shootings. No, man, this is right here, 8 miles away, closer for me from where I am. So, yes, this is real. And, just the start the process of getting this going to where it's undone.
I'm the face of the Libra Lounge with Keisha. I'm a verbal samurai, as my husband says. I'm a loudmouth. Whatever you guys need from me to help support you, just let me know and I'll be there. You can always email us at the Libra Lounge. Oh boy, I always give the wrong contact information.
800, it's too late.
Our email address is libraloungeradio@gmail.com, or right now, yay, I got it right. Right now, between social media and our website, our reach is like 75,000. So anything that we can put up, we will do for our community, because I couldn't even imagine if this had happened at Dickinson. Just the thought of it is terrifying. So whatever we can do to help out, we will be there. We'll be there at the board meeting. I will be there beforehand. I'm not going to give you guys my cell phone number, but y'all know how to contact me that way.
I'll give them your cell phone
give
number.
us your info.
Yeah. So we're from I'm Bully Free. Right in the back there is our sign.
Here, get on the mic.
So I'm the director of I'm Bully Free, and as I look at all the advocates, I don't care which anti-bully group gets into this school to help these kids. I'd love to be that group. The same with counseling. It's all about the kids. It's not about does I'm Bully Free get the credit, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm Bully Free, my cell phone number, and I hope it goes on every bathroom wall across the country, is 713-478-3049. Because if I can't field your call, I have 30 other people across the country that can help us. So last thing that I have, we were talking about how to fund this. Here's an idea from David down in Brownsville, and he owns TKO. It's an organization. He goes, how difficult would it be for the Texas Lotto, which we talked about, to issue a one special edition ticket where all or some of the proceeds go towards metal detectors? Pretty smart, David.
Like a scratch-off ticket?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
David. Okay, David, that was my ideal, David. No, I'm just kidding. But that's my buddy down at TKO's a group that we partnered with, and they're doing a lot down in the valley. Cool? So that was my ideal, David, right? Do I get chosen?
Yes, it was totally Bud's idea.
But that was a good one.
So we're going to, Hannah, which she's probably going to be the mayor of Houston one day. It was funny because when they did the walkout,
Walk in, stay in.
I'm like, the baby stayed inside.
We walked out of classrooms
and laid down peacefully. I texted my daughter. I was like, hey, did you participate in the walkout? She's like, oh, no, I thought I'd get arrested. I'm like, oh, Lord. So, I'm very proud of what you did.
Thank you.
We have your back. We support all of your efforts because we know that it's coming from a very good place. Before we go, I want to again thank everyone who came out today, our panel for coming out, getting all the information that you guys got, because y'all said things today that I had no idea of anything about. Oh yeah, most definitely, but I'm hungry, so we're not going to go on for 8 hours.
The Rockets game.
I want to thank Jenny, my girl. Every time I call and say, can I do something at the gym? This time I had a little bit of backup. She says yes. So make sure to visit Jenny at her all-female gym, Femme Fitale Studio at 689 FM 517 West. Make sure you put West in there. Otherwise, you'll be
on the other
going
side of town.
to the high school, Suite 300, or you can find her at, what's Jenny's website? Is it www?
FemmeFitaleTX.com.
Say it again, Eric.
FemmeFitaleTX.com.
Okay, and again, thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you to my husband, who I've been working like a Hebrew slave to get this done today. This was good. We need to continue this, and we need to make it grow. Thank you to Shelly, who let me boss her around and who took pictures and did the camera for us today.
So are we going to do a follow-up on this to see
We can.
what
Absolutely.
did we meet
Absolutely.
our requirements?
Yeah, this is
That's what parents out there across the. So what did we do? Did we accomplish anything, or just
Yes.
another show?
Yeah, and you can also keep in touch with the Facebook group that keep our students home for 2018, 2019
Yes.
school
Is that
year.
a closed group or open?
It's open. It's all open. Now, your comments will be approved. We are very task driven. You can look for myself, Eric Flynn, or Jimmy Mullins on Facebook to find the group. We are very task driven. If it is not on task, if you're just calling to vent and complain, I'm not going to put it on there. We are looking for solutions, and that is the main thing. We're not attacking the school. Is it a threat? They can take it however they see it, but as far as I'm concerned, the events that happened in Santa Fe threaten my children,
Right.
and me, and my well-being, and the history of my last name. So they can take it how they want. The fact of the matter is we need to get something done. We need to fix it.
Thank you all again. I will have updated information on the Libra Lounge for Keisha Facebook page and website, which is www.libralounge.net. Dang it, I did good. Thank you, everyone. You feeling a little bit better?